All right. So we are going to be talking agentic AI today. So this is an empowerment conversation because the technology is supposed to empower our employees to spend their time on more human-like things that the machines cannot do. So we're going to discuss today, I'm just going to give a brief introduction to agentic AI. Who's heard of agentic AI? We have one, we have two, we have a few. All right, it's new and not so new, I'll explain. Then we're just going to have a quick look at the overview of the players, the comparison of the different AI platforms, and the AI journey up to now, and then similarity, and then I'm going to do a quick demo of our own agentic AI that yours truly has set up and is live within Salt, not without its kinks as per any new thing, but I'm going to show you the actual live demonstration of agentic AI as applied within the HR space. So we probably all know those players. I touched on it in the previous session, and I will. The demonstration will be showing the Microsoft Copilot agents, and the reason for that is that Microsoft is a stickler when it comes to security and compliance, and we know when we use Microsoft technology, then our information isn't going to be everywhere. So Google is very transparent. If anybody has sat in an AI enablement session with me, you will remember this. Google is very transparent. They have eyes on everything, and they can use your personal information and your information to do marketing and advertising. We just don't read the terms and conditions. All right, so that's why when we're working with work-related information, we prefer the Microsoft platform. But Microsoft is not the only player in the game. They were extremely smart when they signed an agreement with OpenAI, who is the owner and developer of ChatGPT and DALL-E, and they brought the ChatGPT and DALL-E technology into the Microsoft ecosystem, the Microsoft applications. So it's basically ChatGPT rebranded is Copilot. But it is also ChatGPT to a certain extent with steroids on, and hopefully in my demonstration I'll show you that. Another tool which I personally am very fond of using is Claude. I don't know who has heard of Claude, who's using Claude. Claude is brilliant. I always I like to show a picture here of someone trying to hammer a nail or trying to screw a nail into the wall with a hammer. There are different tools for different applications. And when we're talking agents or operators or whatever the label is that the platform vendors or the providers have given them, it's basically the same technology. It's just the terms and conditions that differ, the application and the use cases. So there's different types of, we use these different technologies for different purposes and reasons. And I'll try to cover a bit of that in today's session. But let's have a look at the AI journey timeline. There's basically three evolutionary phases. We started off with generative AI, which is, I think, the craziness that came with ChatGPT. And what it basically did was just generate content from prompts. It would ask, and you would ask, and it would receive. ChatGPT was writing essays, and DALL-E creating images. But there are limitations to generative AI, which is not all of them retain memory, especially the free versions, no actions and no persistence. Then the next phase is the assistive AI phase, which is working alongside humans. It enhanced human productivity in workflows, and in the user experience, it was more of a collaboration than it was a ask and receive scenario. Things like Copilot in Word, Claude analyzing documents, and the advancement was really context awareness and workflow integration. And finally, we are here. From 2025 onwards, we are in the agentic AI phase. This is where we actually have independent digital workers that can execute complex tasks autonomously. I don't know who's had experience with ChatGPT's operator. Anyone played with it? It's awesome. It's not perfect yet. As with all new technologies, there are some kinks to work out, but it is brilliant. But unfortunately, it comes with a price tag, as all worthy things do. But the idea with things like Operator and Gemini's Project Mariner, which basically does the same thing, Claude also does it, and Copilot does it, is that it literally, you delegate tasks to it, and you only verify results. So instead of you doing the repetitive autonomous tasks, it does it for you. So Operator, for example, is booking travel. So literally what Operator will do for you is it will go into a website. You will give it an instruction and say, can you please book flight tickets for me to wherever at what time. It'll go into the browser and literally book those tickets for you. And then obviously things like Mariner, which can manage multiple tasks. And the revolution here is really in planning, execution, adaptation, and learning. So they're all very similar, as I mentioned. They're moving towards autonomous task execution. That is where we are with agentic AI. I'm not going to labor the slide in too much detail, but it comes back to what I was explaining about trying to screw the nail into the wall instead of using the hammer. There are different applications for these different tools, and it's good to understand. Firstly, come from the need rather than just choosing a tool because it's available. That's probably the worst thing that you can do, is getting a tool and say, oh, this is cool, what can I do with it? You really need to go use it, look at what you need to have done, the organization needs to have done, and then you evaluate your tools and you can actually apply to it. I think in the essence of time, what I will do with the presentations is also share afterwards, so you can review this in your own time. But this slide really looks at, when we're looking at implementations, what are the key differences between these tools. There are, again, many use cases. There are use cases in manufacturing, in marketing, legal. I can just give you like OpenAI Operator, order replacements, automated from supplier websites. Claude will analyze equipment performance and data and predict failures. You can have a marketing agent, listen to this one, Grace, that can post automatically for you to social media. So every time new content is generated, there we go, Facebook goes. So that'll free up myself and Grace's time to do more meaningful, human-centric work. So the 4 models that, in my view, is up for evaluation, and again, I'll share the presentation. You can go and analyze the pricing. They are all roughly the same when we're talking about our normal AI tools. From your ChatGPT, which is about $20 a month, Copilot range is also about that. Google's AI and Claude, they're all about $20. It's when we're looking at the operator or the agent component that there is an additional cost to it. And surprise, I couldn't believe this, but Google turns out to be the most expensive. You can go and review it yourself, but again, you have to review the pricing in terms of what are you going to achieve at the end of the day. So again, not to replace human beings, but what is going to free up for my social media manager in terms of time that will allow him or her to do something else, and compare the pricing there. So there's a lot of components that you need to evaluate here. Good, and that brings me to my demo. So I want to introduce you today to Crystal. So let me introduce you to Crystal. That wasn't Crystal. Okay, here we go. So everybody should know by now, and if you haven't, you can speak to us about an AI enablement session where you can find Copilot in Edge. Why do we want to use it in Edge, not in Google? Because we said Google has eyes on everything. So we like to use it within the Microsoft space, especially for work-related information. If you are using Gemini to do your child's schoolwork, by all means, just understand, and also ChatGPT, the free version. If you have shared your grandma's recipe for muffins, because the recipe only says you've got 10, it can only cater for 10 muffins and you need 30, that's a brilliant way of doing it. But grandma's recipe is now going to be on the internet. It's a learning model. So if you can live with that, that's okay. I'm quite sure your employer is not going to be okay with the fact that you have shared any kind of confidential information with Chat or with Google or with whoever. So that's why we want to use Copilot, and this version, by the way, is completely for free, the one in Edge. So what we've done, and unfortunately this next part is not completely for free, there you can speak to your friendly neighborhood commercial expansion sales team at Salt Essential IT, is the Copilot agents. So this is Crystal. What I've done with Crystal is I've connected Crystal to our OneDrive and SharePoint drives to our HR documentation. So Crystal acts as a HR bot. What I'm going to call her a she. We all know it's a she business, but she's a she in this case just because Crystal is female. What Crystal will do is answer the day-to-day queries so that our HR doesn't have to do it. Again, coming down to repetitive questions, as in, how many days leave do I get? I'm going to ask a nice one. Let me do this with part of the demo. How many days paternity leave does one get? So you'll see this is very similar to Copilot and very similar to ChatGPT because that is what the base technology is. But it will now go and look for anything in our HR which refers to paternity, and it will tell you there Namibia has not legislated paternity leave. I hope I'm right. I hope Crystal's right. Is Crystal right? Crystal's right, yes. Okay. And then it gives me a nice little reference to where I can find that on the internet. And then again, our job does become to check information, so it's good if you go to that reference. Sometimes I can still fabricate information. And then SALT Essential IT offers 10 consecutive workdays of paternity leave per birth every 3 years. Wow, we're a generous company. Okay, so if... Thank you, Mrs. MD, Majestic Dame. So I can now remember it's a conversation, so I can go further and I can say, okay, I'm not sure. Can I speak to a human? And this is also, again, the next phase that we're going to do is we are going to connect our HR contact details. It does currently not do that. We haven't set up that connection yet, but there is a point, especially with HR-related matters, that you want to connect with a human being. Not what did it say? Something nasty? Oh, dear. No, that's fine. Copilot will also look at all our information, so I can contact my manager. It's smart enough to see that my manager is Sonia Kutzer to get information, or my top collaborators. They'll provide you with the support that you need. So any specific issue, and Crystal will go and try to find more information. So this really is brilliant, and we can get some feedback from Hendrina. I think we launched it we launched it about 2 weeks ago, and for general consumption in SALT a few days ago, so it's early days. But based on the feedback that we get, and I think especially from Hendrina, our HR Fundi, she'll be able to say, is she getting less questions that people repeat and, is lazy to look for documents, but cutting down on her time that she has to spend on repetitive, mundane tasks, again, to be able to focus on what the most important part is of any organization, and that is its people. Thank you. That was me and Crystal.